As you guys know, we talked a lot about these mysterious drones that have been invading America, flying all over the place, hovering above some of our biggest cities, and of course, especially in New Jersey. I mean, New Jersey is completely infested by these things, but it's a brand new year. It's 2025. And even though that story was a real big story just a week or two ago, now no one cares anymore. Everyone seems to be okay with the fact that mysterious objects that we don't know where they're coming from, our government claims they don't know where they're coming from, but the American public has decided that they're okay with allowing these things to fly and hover over our heads. Nothing to see here. Let's worry about something else. Well, of course, the new year ushered in a bunch of new news stories. We didn't get a chance to rest. We didn't get a chance to take a breath. Hell, I couldn't even light a sparkler during the new year before all types of heinous, crazy, freaking nonsense was going on. Of course, we had that situation in New Orleans. And then we had the Cybertruck situation in Las Vegas. Now, authorities claim that these two events are not tied to each other at all. People seem to believe otherwise, though. And when you look into things, it's like, hey, this guy was at Fort Bragg. This guy was at Fort Bragg. Hey, that one guy that tried to assassinate Trump at the golf course, he was at Fort... Listen, I think that there's a very, very strong possibility that somehow, some way, these situations could be connected. And I'll make a video going over all of that in the future. Right now, I'm kind of sitting back, gathering information, trying to form other connections. But one thing I didn't expect is I did not expect to find a connection between these crazy, mysterious drones and what went down on the 1st of January. But there seems to be a slight connection here. You see, Matthew Livelsberger, the guy that was in the Cybertruck, the guy that carried out that act, if you will. I got to be careful with the words that I use here on this platform. Well, he recently started working with drones in the military. Now, this guy had been in the military for years. He was 1 year away from being able to retire and get all of the benefits. Yet 1 year away from that 20 years served in the military, he decides to blow himself up in front of a hotel in Las Vegas? I mean, it's kind of odd. It's kind of odd, especially when you're kind of searching for the motive. And now we got all of these leaked text messages that came out with him basically conversing and having conversations with one of his exes. And I don't know, I'm reading through these messages and I'm like, this does not seem like a guy that is about to go carry out some type of crazy act. If anything, this dude seems like a dude bro. He's having fun pretending to be Batman in his rented Cybertruck. In fact, let's go ahead and read the text messages. Oh, okay, it's been wild. So much learning and fun. I rented a Tesla Cybertruck. It's the shit. I'm building drones in my new position. You would love it. I feel like Batman or Halo. His ex responds, I don't know if it's cool or I should bully you about it. How fast is it? And he says, ungodly. Now, there's other text messages as well, but these are the ones that stuck out to me because he says that he has a new position building drones. Now, crazy people do crazy things. I cannot put myself in this guy's shoes. I don't know what's going through his mind. But apparently, he's a Special Forces, he's Special Forces Green Beret, served his country for years, and then all of a sudden, around the time that he starts working on drones, around the time that drones are invading America, all of a sudden the guy takes himself out? I don't know. When you read the messages, it does not come across as someone who's having a mental break about to off themselves and try to hurt others. It just doesn't seem like it. But like I said, I can't put myself in this guy's shoes. I can't begin to understand what's going through this guy's head. But it's just weird how this guy who seemed to love his country, served his country for almost 2 decades, 1 year shy of that golden retirement. And he does this right after he starts working with drones. Odd. A lot of drone stuff going on. But hey, let's dive into this article really quickly and find out a tidbit more. Vegas Cybertruck bomber Matthew Livelsberger revealed as Special Forces soldier overseeing drones, as first pic shows him posing in camo with a rifle. Cybertruck bomber Matthew Livelsberger worked in Special Forces overseeing drone operations and maintenance. Livelsberger, age 37, was last stationed in Germany, where he worked as a remote and autonomous systems manager for the Army. In that position, Livelsberger was responsible for the operations, maintenance, and integration of drones in the military. Livelsberger's military experience was highly focused on technology and engineering, working a series of Army roles that had him working intimately with some of the most critical intelligence capabilities in the Special Forces. Let's pause there. So out of everyone in America, they chose this guy to be in charge of integrating drones within the Army, right? Because drones are the new age of warfare. Tanks, fighter jets, soldiers on the battlefield, those are slowly going to become a thing of the past. War is going to be fought through autonomous drones. This guy, his job was literally, hey, we're going to start integrating drones into modern day warfare. We're going to integrate these drones into the U.S. military. So isn't that weird? I don't know. I just find it weird. I'm sorry. I can't help it. But another thing we find out is that this guy had access to really high class information. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I've never served in the military, and I damn sure never, was as high ranking as this guy, right? But I would think that you would have to go through all types of background checks, all types of mental health evaluations, and stuff like that. You got to understand, this guy had access to top secret information. Information that the president, members of Congress don't even have. This guy knows the ins and outs of specific things that are happening in our military, right? Yeah, I guess he's a wacko and no one knew. But yeah, it's just kind of scary once you learn that not only is he Special Forces, but he was kind of high up there. He's high up there in the chain, right? A guy that had access to all types of information that some people might not want getting out there. You can try to put 2 and 2 together here if you want. All I'm saying is this guy had access to information that obviously the powers that be, they wouldn't want getting out there. So is there a possibility that he was going to put some of this information out? All I'm saying is things do not add up in this story, but let's go further. Let's find out a little bit more. He also joined the Green Berets in 2006. First as a communications specialist until 2015, working with military communication systems such as computers and radio. Livelsberger had been in the Army for at least 19 years, leaving him just 1 year away from full military retirement benefits. He previously served from 2015 to 2023 as a Special Forces Intelligence and Operations Specialist, meaning he would have had access to highly sensitive military information. His work in that role involved studying the enemy with biometrics, cultural studies, technical data analysis, and vulnerability assessments, as well as targeting. Prior to taking his most recent drone manager role, He worked as a Special Forces Operations Manager and Team Sergeant in the Army, where he listed his responsibilities as personnel, project and risk management, operation planning, field and security operations, and technology integration. He also listed a contract position with General Dynamics from 2011 to 2012 as a hyperspectral imaging integrator, during which he engineered and fielded the first mobile standoff hyperspectral imaging light guard Minotaur system, his profile states. He listed his skills in that position as explosives detection, government contracting, technology integration, and technical writing. So this wasn't your average everyday guy that signed up for the military, served a couple of years. You know, this is someone who was high up there. Had basically spent his entire life, I don't want to say his entire life, but his entire career, he was working with the military. He rose in the ranks, had access to all of this top secret information, and more recently, he started, overseeing our drone operations. And then, of course, we had the drone invasion of America, and now this guy supposedly blows himself up outside of a hotel in Las Vegas. Now, at first I was like, okay, cool. All right, some dude did something crazy. I'm used to seeing crazy things, so are you. But the more the story played out, the more questions I had. Like when they said that the guy, and I got to be careful with how I word this, but investigators claim that the guy offed himself before the vehicle exploded. That doesn't make sense to me. If you're sitting in a Cybertruck and you're planning on making the thing go boom, why don't just go boom right along with it? Why do you take yourself out before the boom? That doesn't make sense, right? I mean, here I am. It's obviously a mission where I know I'm not going to make it out of it, right? So who cares how I go? Why am I going to off myself before I actually get the job done and make this thing go boom? It just seems awkward. And then you think about it from this aspect. Think about it from this angle. Okay, if someone is doing something like this, right? They obviously want to cause a lot of damage. They want to cause a lot of harm. This isn't about, I just want to end myself or inflict damage on myself. No. When you do something like this, it's about inflicting damage on other people. So I would assume that his intentions would be to cause more damage to the hotel, maybe hurt and end the lives of other people, right? So if that's the case and you're armed, right, why not hop out the Cybertruck, go boom, 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 then allow the Cybertruck to go boom to ensure that you cause the most damage possible. And then, of course, law enforcement will take you out along the way. Either way, you're not going to make it out of it, right? All I'm saying is, listen, like I was explaining earlier, I can't put myself in this guy's shoes. I can't begin to try to understand his thought process. But if I'm a bad guy that wants to cause the most damage possible, I'm going to get out the Cybertruck, and instead of ending myself, I'm going to try to go, do other things and end other people as the Cybertruck explodes. Also, the fact that he kind of just parks it there instead of driving it through the glass doors and stuff like that. So much stuff just doesn't add up. But here is where I was like, oh, hell no. So they claim that the guy is unrecognizable, right? The guy inside the Cybertruck, his remains are unrecognizable. Everything is just incinerated. Yet somehow, some way, even though he's unrecognizable, his passport and his ID and his driver's license are all perfectly intact. Now, what does this remind you of? Some of you are scratching your heads like, I don't know. It reminds me of 9/11. Remember how somehow, some way, buildings were collapsing, exploding, planes exploding, people dropping from hundreds of stories up in the sky. Yet somehow, some way, through all of the madness, all of the debris, they find some of the paperwork belonging to the hijackers. Oh, look, here's the hijacker's passport that somehow survived 9/11. No one else did. The buildings didn't. New York City is completely covered in debris. Toxic ashes everywhere. People are still dying to this day from the stuff that they inhaled during 9/11, by the way. But hey, somehow, some way, we got all of these intact documents that show who carried out this attack. And people bought that up and believed it. Now, when that happened, I was in 5th grade. I didn't know any better, but now I'm like, yeah, that's BS. And when I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to be kind of hesitant here. So you can't identify the guy. Everything's incinerated. But little pieces of paper that were on his person are perfectly intact, so we can show you who this guy is, right? Weird to me. And then, on top of all of that, as we just learned, this guy is Special Forces, Green Beret, has an extensive history of serving in the military, doing all types of things. You would think that there would be a possibility that he could have made a better device that would have caused more damage, right? You would think that he would have made a better explosive device that would have caused more damage. Hell, some of his family members have spoken out claiming that, hey, if he really wanted to do something crazy, he could have took out half the hotel, right? So you would think that with the knowledge and the access that this guy had, that maybe, just maybe, he would have been able to create something that would have caused more damage instead of whatever he created here. Now, I'm no expert on this type of stuff. I can't make this type of stuff, nor do I ever want to. So I'm not the authority figure that can tell you, oh yeah, he should have been able to do this, or he couldn't do this. I don't know. All I'm saying is that, you would think that there would be a possibility that he could have created something a little more intricate, complex, and a little more effective than what he did, right? With the background that he has. Now, maybe that's not the case. I understand that just because you're in the military or special forces are here or there, it doesn't mean that you have, the ability to do all of these things that some people may believe that you can do, right? I get it. But it's just another weird aspect to the story. But it gets way weirder. In fact, it gets so much weirder that I need to make an entirely separate video to cover this latest development. So for now, I'm going to leave this video here. I need you all to hit that subscribe button. Ring the notification bell so you can be notified of my next upload. Because in my next video, we're going to go over some really concerning information. There's some supposed leaked emails out there, and it appears that maybe, just maybe, this guy was actually warning people about the current drone invasion. And even if this email isn't real, I'm still looking at this connection between him recently working on drones, and I'm questioning, was this a crazy guy that wanted to do something crazy, or is this a guy that had access to information that someone didn't want to get out there, so they kind of set him up for this? I can't help but question that. But like I said, we're going to unpack so much more in the next video. For now, let me know what you think about all of the details and all of the information we talked about here. Drop your comments below, hit that like button, like I said, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll be talking to you all very soon about more crazy stuff to deal with this story soon.